What's up, Tranquility viewers? You are watching Season 10, Week 2 of Tranquility's Harmony tier as the Colorado Carbon take on the Council in both of these teams' first chance to score a victory after some challenging matches last week. My name is Jonesy, and I'm joined today, of course, by the community legend herself, Nerfed. Nerfed, how's it going?
It's going great. I love casting with you, man. You hype me up every single time.
We stay hyped. We stay hyped here. That's the only way we do it. And all it took was an entire jar of water. So with that in mind, before we get into the details of the match, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the update that dropped earlier today, as many of you know. So One Punch Man sees a huge collaboration with the Overwatch universe as Doomfist, Genji, Kiriko, and Soldier cosplay your favorite characters from one of my favorite animes of the last decade, One Punch Man. Be sure to grab your mom's credit card, get those skins, and throw as many competitive matches as possible on Doomfist this season. Now, speaking of throwing, Sojourn players are going to be sliding into a rude awakening this patch as some critical balance changes have also dropped. Some of the bigger updates that I noticed include Baptiste gets an important buff to Immortality Field, which increases the minimum health that friendly targets can drop to within Immortality Field's effect, from 10% of total HP to 25. This might not seem like a lot, but bear in mind that this change scales with the max HP of the friendly target. This means that Reinhardt, for example, is going to benefit much more from this change than, say, a Widowmaker. Additionally, Sojourn saw what many are seeing as a much needed nerf, with her torso hitbox increasing by 20% in size. This should allow enemy DPS players to more easily duel Sojourn while she keeps her hero persona with no changes to her railgun. Nerfed, you manage Hive Mind and have been known to ring at GM level. Any thoughts on the balance patch?
Ringing at GM's a little bit sus. But I think this BAP change specifically is going to be pretty substantial. I think that BAP was a character kind of trending towards the meta, especially with the rise of Reinhardt. And I'm hoping that we can see a little bit of the BAP tonight. With his new buff. But as we look a little bit more towards this series, our first map here is going to be Antarctic Peninsula. Jonesy, you touched on these two teams a little bit. The two brand new teams. Only one player on each team has participated in Tranquility before, and both starting a little bit shaky last week. Both having 0-4 losses to two teams that honestly I would consider kind of towards the middle echelon of the Harmony tier. So definitely two teams looking for a bounce back win, and I think for both of them this is going to be a crucial win for their stage 2 seeding.
Totally agreed. Of course, we have Colorado Carbon being kind of headed in some ways by Bethcon, a legend in the community as well. With many other new players on that team, we did see some pretty impressive, despite the 0-4 outcomes for both of these teams. We did get some great chances to see these teams perform. We definitely are seeing some strong play from the Council on the tank and so on. So when we're looking at this, we're seeing, of course, Altis showing some strength on the Reinhardt last week with some strong shield management and even a shatter to cancel High Noon in map 1. We saw Nuki showing proficiency on the Pharah last week. This is of course from Colorado Carbon, with some surprising survivability, but with Tanner on the Council showing a strong Cassidy performance, we may find the Flyer getting shut down. If you didn't see, by the way, there was a Bethcon highlight in top Twitch clips of the week. Beth showing off an impressive on-a-sleep dart on a flanking tracer in her match last week. I believe that Beth will be a critical factor in the success of Carbon this season. Nerfed, any other thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on the two veterans of the tier, Beth and Tanners respectively. But I'm very excited to see some of the new players on these two teams. Was definitely a lot to look out for. I haven't been able to do a whole ton of homework on either of these two teams, but it should be exciting getting to see two brand new teams compete against each other the first time in the Harmony tier.
Absolutely. It's kind of what the Harmony tier is built to do, is to find some new players, can develop them, and hopefully be able to kind of rise them through the ranks of the various tiers in Tranquility. So some great stuff to see. These teams really looking to make a name for themselves. We should be jumping to the map very soon, but I would be remiss rather, if I didn't mention the fact that the Council, for those who may not know already, are a team of VTubers, and would very much appreciate, I'm sure, you stopping by in some of their streams of future matches, although they of course won't be streaming today as we have it all for you here. But that being said, please drop some love in their chats if you can in the future. I'm sure they would really appreciate that. Okay, so map 1, it looks like we'll be going to, again, of course, Antarctic Peninsula. Any thoughts on Antarctic Peninsula as it relates to the meta right now?
I think Antarctica's, at least in the scrims that I've been showing up for, it seemed very brawl-centric, especially for the Harmony tier, where you can kind of force brawl a lot of the time no matter what, and it'll always pretty much be viable, especially in the plat tiers of Overwatch. So I think I would be very surprised to not see at least a little bit of brawl. However, there are also some other comps that people have been playing, some ball comp, a little bit of other variety, but yeah, primarily the brawl comp is what I expect to see, especially from two Harmony tier teams.
Totally agreed. We should expect to see Reinhardt's coming out and really challenging to push Reinhardt's off of the point on these maps, as he's so able to hold, take and hold space. Already we're seeing, again, coming out from Colorado Carbon, we can see right away Tenzen on the tank. We're looking at McFly and Nuki on DPS, and then we have Bethcon and your boy Soul on the support lines. Then, on the side of the Council, we're looking at Altis on the tank. Again, a very strong tank from last week. Someone to look out for here. We have Tanners and Ragorn on the DPS, and Luca and Ruka on the supports. I'm sure they have a lot of fun calling for heals on that team.
This is interesting, starting off with both teams on the Mercy. It makes a little bit more sense to me from the Colorado Carbon, as they're running it with the Pharah and a little bit more of a pokey comp. However, the Council running Mercy Kiriko Brawl is not something you see every day, so I'm definitely interested to see how this is going to pan out for the first fight.
Absolutely, and already we're seeing some high ground advantage coming from the side of Colorado Carbon. That's really important here on this first point, is they're going to be able to then flank with some of their DPS, be able to really poke out this Council front line. But already we're seeing McFly going down, getting a little low here, but Tanner's taking out Bethcon. That's going to be a critical pick early on in this fight. That's going to sell it here for Council.
Yeah, they'll just take the first percentage off of that pick alone. McFly will die to the pin, and it looks like the rest of the Colorado Carbon are just gonna fall back and reset.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what they have to do here, especially down 2. But they just lose the Mercy, and it seems like the fight's already over for them.
Totally agreed, and I just love to see the aggression from the Council. We saw aggression last week from Altis on the Reinhardt character and some other tanks as well, but the challenge is they weren't able to follow up on some of that intensity. Maybe they'll be able to turn that around today as we're jumping into next fight. Already, we see some cooldowns being thrown out by the tanks, but it looks like Council are going to try to hold up this close, and with some support cooldowns coming down from the Council, they're going to back up just a little bit to try to give themselves some time and space to work with. Now with Altis' shield going down and HP getting to half, it looks like they're going to peel all the way back to point, as now the high ground advantage goes to the side of Colorado Carbon. But with the Deadeye coming out from Tanner's, they're going to need to wait and peel until that's over. Now with the cooldown down, it looks like we're going to jump back onto this high ground with that Sigma, really going to be able to poke out the team. But with that Reinhardt sitting on point, it's going to be really hard to hold this. And with Tanner's hitting another shot on the hit scan onto McFly. Bethcon reses McFly though, so we're back into a 5v5 situation. And with the Kitsune rush as an attempt to swing the momentum, but it's not going to work here, as Council will shut down Carbon's Kitsune rush.
That was very interesting. The Council seemed to play that with such a slow tempo, which when you're playing the Brawl into a poke comp, you kind of want to just run in. They play at advantage when you're playing at distances, but Council were willing to give up the space and just wait for Tanners to get the opening pick there on the Pharah, and then run in as soon as they had that. Definitely very good stuff from them, seeing as they're willing to just get that first pick, and they have so much patience waiting for that to happen.
Love it. And as you're talking about patience, again, they're holding their ground, and Tanner's able to find another one. Tanner's really showing off today some hit scan proficiency, as we're seeing headshots going on to the Sigma. And it looks like Colorado Carbon won't be able to touch, as they did have some members of their team go down already in that fight. Not an unreasonable no touch, as again, they were down pretty significantly, just looking to lick their wounds there. But Already, this match going the way of the Council.
Like a reverse Sig 9. Like, the Sigma didn't pick anybody up, the Sigma just flew too high and wasn't able to touch the point as a result. Definitely a very unfortunate end to that round, but I love the style that we're seeing from the Council. It's a little bit unconventional, but I like to see that they're able to play off of their strengths, which in this case is King Tanner's on the Cassidy. Play for him to get a pick and just wait for that. The patience here is so key, and it's winning them a lot of fights. Love to see it.
You know what? And in fact, the fact that they're playing back allows them to handle some of those flanks a little more effectively. I really like that coming from this team. But that being said, coming out on the Ramatra here from Colorado Carbon, let's see if they can displace Altis on the Reinhardt. Are they going to be able to change up the way that they take space on this? Or are they going to fall victim to that same challenge of moving the immovable Rhine? And already we're jumping in with Altis, a pick onto Bethcon, but Tenzin able to respond with a kill onto Tanners. Tenzin getting very deep and able to take off Raghorn. So we're looking at some trades going on. Backlines being traded with Tenzin just absolutely dominating the backline of the Council, finding a way, though, to turn this around as Altis is finding their ability to eliminate backlines just slightly more aggressive. But it looks like the point is going contested here, Nerfed.
So scrappy, but Bethcon is able to hold on to the point for just a little bit longer. This will end up being the Council, but that fight was back and forth. There wasn't a clear winner all the way until Tenzin fell on the Ramatra. We're looking at quite a couple ults here. The Shatter and the Kitsune Rush coming up for the Council versus the Ramatra ult from the Colorado Carbon. However, what I want to highlight here is that your boy Soul is on the Moira, and has been for the entire match so far. It's a very interesting pick, not something you see every day, but it seems to be working out a little bit better with this more aggressive comp they're playing.
Totally agreed. And as we're seeing, though, Altis able to find another kill early on in the fight. But with Altis and King Tanners both going down on the side of the Council, including Raghorn, it looks like Colorado Carbon are going to be able to turn this point around finally. It looks like they were able to finally punish some of that aggression coming from the Council. The Council now showing a little bit difference in style, as before they're able to kind of stay on point. Now they're looking to rush into the back line, and it looks like that's going to catch them out to dry here. As again, we're seeing a momentum shift in favor of Colorado Carbon. Again, looking at the ultimates, it looks like Council are going to need to find some serious movement out of this Kitsune Rush, as Carbon are going to respond with the Ramatra and the Coalescence. And already the fight gets started as the Council are looking to push through this, but that Kitsune Rush is so powerful as Ruka is going to be taken down here, but some incredible gameplay coming from Altis, but will eventually fall as the Kitsune Rush is just going to provide so much tempo to this team, and it looks like we're just going to see some final kills coming in on Luca and Raghorn.
Yeah, Altis maybe got a little bit too aggressive there. Went for the pin in the backline of the Colorado Carbon, and it just let the Carbon rather just take advantage of the space that had been created. They played just in the middle between the Reinhardt and his backline. Just popped the Blizzard and were able to separate them and just won the fight completely off of that. Great stuff coming out from the Carbon here as they're able to turn this and take the first lead of the series so far.
First lead and ultimate advantage. Some critical stuff now as we're seeing momentum shift very, very handily in Carbon's favor. And it looks like if you don't give the Council time for their DPS to make moves, then they simply won't win the fight. As I say that, Raghorn able to find a move early on, taking out Nuki with that critical ultimate, with Tenzin now in the backline, running around with this Annihilation, able to find two, and that's going to be two critical pieces of the puzzle here, as Council are going to need to evade after that very effective Annihilation.
Yeah, the Annihilation, Tenzin just runs into the backline and takes out two. We'll see some cleanup from your boy Soul on the Moira. But it seems like a lot of these fights are just being completely dictated by the way that the first pick goes. I really want to see how one of these teams is able to play down a player. Like here for King Tanner's being down and Rukaman out already, it seems like it might just be going the Colorado Carbon's way. And yeah, with Altis going down, I think that'll probably seal the deal, and this second round will go to the Colorado Carbon.
It does look that way, as they were, of course, Council looking at some challenging time constraints there, just needing to kind of push their way onto point as quickly as possible. Obviously, their rotations, getting punished as Colorado Carbon are able to find some of those heads to click. And already we're seeing some exciting stuff here, as we're 1-1 in King of the Hill here. So two teams, again, looking to establish their reputations this season in Harmony tier. So we have, again, a lot of newer players and really some players that struggled last week, but of course against some pretty strong teams, again, in the form of Ragnarok and Gehenna Gatekeepers, as we all know, again, some Harmony tier legends, as it were. And now, already showing that both these teams can adapt to each other's playstyle. Let's see how that continues to change as we start on our third point in control.
And in terms of adaptations, I really like the swap from Bethcon onto the Ana, being able to play from a little bit more distance, allowing Tenzin to run in and just brawl, and then eventually you can pop a nano and just let Ramattra go crazy. I think that that's going to allow Colorado Carbon to play a lot more to their strengths, especially into the Rhine, which it would seem would be a little bit more beneficial to them. And we're seeing it here, Colorado Carbon just opening the fight with 3 picks. And they'll clean up the point, get the first percentage on this third point.
And you love to see it, McFly really finding his stride, finding not 1, but 2 headshots on the Sojourn, which, as we know, you headshot with Sojourn, that's it for them.
We're seeing some interesting swaps, though, onto the monkey comp. I said I've seen some variety, but I don't think I've seen the monkey comp particularly played on this point. Swapping with the Echo Mercy, I think will be very interesting to see how they're able to play into the Colorado Carbon's more brawly kind of poke comp.
And already seeing some purchase with this new composition as Ragorn is able to find Bethcon, but with Tenzin taking down Altis, that's a critical piece of the puzzle here. Without that monkey, you're just not going to be able to hold any space here.
No, not at
Let's
all.
see if these DPS can make something happen as the Council stays in the pocket here a little bit, trying to find some more purchase, but with Ragorn getting taken down, looks like they're going to regroup and go next as Altis and Ragorn are coming back from spawn.
Yeah, we saw an early pick there from the Council. However, the Carbon were just able to take out the monkey, who went a little bit too aggressive in that fight. And with the monkey down, you said it yourself. They are not able to hold the space and keep up the aggression that they would have wanted to keep in that fight.
Absolutely, but we're already seeing a very aggressive dive with an anti onto Bethcon. Again, Bethcon getting taken down early, but with Altis getting dropped early from Tenzin. Tenzin really showing off some serious Ramatra gameplay here in both second and third control points, as they're going to hold in 75% in ticking here, Nerfed.
Yeah, we said at the beginning that me specifically, I'm looking at the old players, but Tenzin and McFly are really putting Colorado Carbon on their back. Just able to get so many picks and control so much space that they're able to win these fights pretty convincingly. We'll see some swaps from the Carbon, or from the Council rather, but Carbon have 5 ults. It seems like this round is as good as done.
It's just going to be Q and done here, as Colorado Carbon push forward with an annihilation and all 5 ultimates. We are seeing some Q gaming here coming from Colorado Carbon.
Wow.
As the entire kill feed just lights up with that lightning ultimate ability kills, and this map will go to Colorado Carbon.
They popped 5 ults at the same time. That is just a death sentence for the Council. A really unfortunate way to end that map, especially when they take an early lead. However, the Council just seemed like they couldn't figure out their identity. They lost a couple fights, and eventually they just made too many swaps that they weren't able to keep up with the ult economy that the Colorado Carbon handily had advantage of the entire series, or the entire map rather.
And what I like to see is the adaptation, because what we saw on first control point is we saw a Colorado Carbon looking to effectively poke and finding no purchase out of that playstyle. So immediately we see the swap up into a more brawly style with Ramatra instead of Sigma, and instantly finding a lot of success. So we'll see whether we can continue to see some adaptation from these teams. This is the Harmony tier we all love to watch, when you're seeing teams literally adapting to one another and learning the game rather than coming out with kind of predetermined strategies. They're genuinely finding things out as we play, and early on in the season is going to be our best chance to see some of those adaptations. So it sounds like we already have our next map here, Nerfed. We're going to be jumping into King's Row.
Yeah, and you said it yourself that the swaps from specifically Carbon were very game changing in that map. What I think though is interesting is that Ramatra is a little bit more pokey, than the Reinhardt, which you would have typically otherwise swapped to. So it allows them to play more of a pokey style than the traditional Brawl. However, definitely a more brawly style that seems to be more advantageous on our Antarctic Peninsula. On King's Road, though, you'll expect to see a lot of Reinhardt, specifically from the Council. But I would not be surprised if the Carbon finally, this is the nail in the coffin that makes them decide to swap to the Rhine as well. Although you are able to play the Ramatra here as well, and I think it'll be completely fine if they decide to do that.
And it looks like we will have Big Meme subbing in for your boy Soul. So that's going to be one swap coming in from Colorado Carbon. Obviously, Colorado Carbon with 3 supports in their support line. So we're going to see some swap ups coming from them. No swaps yet on the side of the Council, but the Council have a lot of opportunity for adaptation. When we're looking at their roster, we're seeing 5 members of this team locking in as flex. So we can expect to see some changes coming in, hopefully with some adaptation to this very aggressive playstyle coming from Colorado Carbon on Ramatra. So with all that in mind, jumping in again, just speaking to some of the players that really stood out to me on first map, I'm looking now out for Tenzin, already possibly showing off some potential player of the match coming from me if we can continue to see this really impressive gameplay. But on the Council, I'm expecting to see Tanners showing off some additional hit scan proficiency. And who knows, with a Mercy Pocket, what can Tanners do?
I really don't love the Mercy, though. I think that it does play to enable Tanners. However, we saw it kind of fade away throughout the course of that map. And with Colorado Carbon playing a more poke or brawly style than they were before, I think that the Mercy's just kind of going to get punished. I don't think she plays well with the brawl into a brawl. So I'll definitely be on the lookout to see how that plays for Luca.
And already starting off here, we're seeing Sacrilege from Colorado Carbon as no Reinhardt player coming out from Colorado Carbon. Dishonorable. With that in mind, McFly already hitting a critical pick onto Tanners, and the res is not going to be possible as they're just taking this space aggressively. But with Altus taking down Nuki, that's a really important frontline piece of the puzzle now down from the side of Colorado Carbon. And it looks like with Tenzin running very low, are they going to need to back up here? It looks like they're going to take their time, lick their wounds, and give some opportunity for Peel while they're looking to jump into a second engagement here coming around the statue. With Colorado Carbon looking to, again, poke further at this front line. And with the incredible wall, we may be able to see some, but with Tanners finding some purchase through the Baptiste wall, we're going to see a lot of kills coming on the side, and Tanners showing some incredible shots and proficiency here. Some great stuff happening, Nerfed. I think I may have called some of our players of the match here.
I take back what I said. I forgot the new Mercy, the Mercy buff, where if you're under 50% health, you can't die. Playing that with the Baptiste, yeah, if the Carbon aren't going to play fully aggressive and just run into the backline of the Council, nothing's gonna die on the side of the Council. We'll see
a huge shatter as soon as Alt is showing some incredible gameplay, able to find that opportunity right when the shift comes in from Tenzin, looking for that shatter, and that's just going to turn the fight in their favor aggressively, Nerfed.
Yeah, the Council have used 2 ults so far, though. The Colorado building up to a full 5, and if it's going to be anything like it was at the end there of Antarctica, I think that this is going to be a very favorable fight for the Colorado Carbon. Especially with the Nano Ramatra, I think you can just run straight into the backline of the Council and just win this fight outright with that.
And you said it, and it's happening. We're seeing NanoRam coming in hot, but with NanoRam running kind of low, this is actually jumping really close. This is the DPS line from the Council, able to shut down the front line of Colorado Carbon. Such an incredible set of ultimates being traded back and forth. We would need probably a month to be able to explain everything that happened in that fight, all within 5 seconds. But here we are. The best we can do is speak at this rate, Nerfed.
That was crazy. Rhaegorn just able to find 2 and completely turn the fight. When it looked like without that ult, it would have gone completely in the favor of the Colorado Carbon. We'll see them swap onto the Moira and the Orisa here. Big Meme will start the fight with the Kitsune Rush, but it's not amounting to anything yet for the Colorado Carbon, as we'll see. Oh, they'll actually pick up 4.
Colorado Carbon finding a lot of use out of the May Blizzard.
Yeah.
I think that's really what gave them a lot of tempo in that fight, able to find a lot of kills with that. And I really like the swap from Tenzin onto the Orisa. We're seeing Colorado Carbon able to very effectively adapt I may say I did a little bit of snooping on some streams while we were prepping for this, with Altis coming in from behind with a massive charge, although it won't make a difference for this first point. But I wouldn't be surprised if we wouldn't expect to find Bethcon often providing some key insights as to some of this adaptation that we're seeing coming from the side of Colorado Carbon. Just kind of guessing at that. But with that in mind, Colorado Carbon, with this new composition, is already looking very strong here, Nerf, but with Altis dropping an incredible shatter. But Tenzen is just holding the line here. But with Rhaegarn able to take out Tenzen, that's going to be finally this payload finding a stall at a critical point here underneath the awning and the bridge.
Yeah, the council were able to get that early pick onto McFly, just get them back into the first spawn. And with that, they have the advantage. They take a little bit of aggression. They get the shatter out. It doesn't amount to anything, but they find the picks and end up getting the fight. Tenzen will engage here with the surge, and Tanner's with a double high noon. It just seems like this is such a good place for the council to be holding. It plays exactly into the strengths that they want to play with in their comp.
Totally agreed. I think even with this Orisa, it's going to be really challenging to get Colorado Carbon's DPS in position to be able to get purchase against this boosted Cassidy player, as you're just seeing all of the council able to just funnel their damage into these tight corridors. It's going to give them a lot of pickoff potential as we're jumping into next fight. Already, cooldowns being traded on the sides of the front line here, as it looks like Colorado Carbon, though, going to be able to charge up a rail. Let's see if they can find some purchase with that, as May's getting into position to have some serious value. The Suzu is engaged, as we see a blizzard, and a massive blizzard coming on the side of Colorado Carbon. This is looking like just their recipe for disaster here. Commit the blizzard, and you're going to get yourself some movement on this payload.
But the unfortunate thing is that's the only way we've seen Colorado Carbon be able to open up some of these fights. They found picks, sure, in a lot of the cases, but the only fights that Carbon have been able to win are the ones where they commit the blizzard. So I'm going to need to see Colorado Carbon find some other win condition that they're able to open up some of these fights with, besides that blizzard, because otherwise it seems like they're going to run out of time before they can get to this next payload.
I think you're spot on. With only a minute remaining and with no blizzard in the pocket, how are Colorado Carbon going to be able to push this? With 3 ultimates? With a massive shatter, dropping 3, but it gets Suzu'd immediately. That's just the power of Kiriko. Lol, your ultimate doesn't matter. As King Tanner's looking for headshots, able to bring down the front line fairly low, but Altis and Rhaegarn looking very low as Altis gets dropped. With the Kiriko ultimate coming in, we're seeing some serious tempo from the side of Colorado Carbon, and I think that's just Kitsune Rush for you. So some incredible plays coming from Big Meme, both finding an opportunity to Suzu that shatter, and then Kitsune Rush just essentially winning them that fight.
You shall receive. Bethcon and Big Meme committed the ults there and just gave so much sustain to the Carbon that they were not able to lose that fight. The council will swap here onto the Zarya. One of the balance patches we didn't mention earlier is that Zarya does have 1 less second on her bubble cooldown. However, I don't know how much that will be able to turn the tides in favor of the council here on the Zarya comp today.
Agreed, and now with a very important window here, we're going to see now Tenzen trying to find an opportunity to hide from that incredible damage coming from the side of the council. But now, with that window dealt with, Tenzen's going to step forward into this open space and find a very effective ultimate on the side of their Orisa, and just able to take this space almost for free as Tanner's looks for the opportunity on this Cassidy. Able to find 1, able to find 2 as Altis presses forward on the Zarya. And I really like the Zarya swap here. The Zarya finding a lot of purchase, able to shut down some of that backline, as I think Council are finally starting to adapt to Colorado Carbon's aggressive playstyle.
They are, definitely, and the Zarya definitely hard counters the Orisa, and we'll have to see Tenzen swap onto the Monkey here. Bethcon will now go back to the Ana, a little bit more able to play with the Monkey there, but we'll see Nuki stay on the Mei, which is interesting. It plays a little bit counter towards the Divey comp that the rest of the Carbon are playing, and Tenzen will just go down with the opening of this grab in the fight, and with only 20 seconds remaining, it seems like this is final fight territory for the Carbon.
Absolutely. Again, The Zarya finding a lot of purchase with a very fast grav being charged up and then used early in that fight. Now with Colorado Carbon, with a lot of swaps coming in, they won't have ultimate advantage. Let's see if Raygorn can find some serious purchase with this Beyblade coming up. And we may just expect to see a momentum shift here with Raygorn taking out McFly, and now with Big Meme going down. Raygorn with 3, Tenzin are now going down. Is Raygorn going to be able to find the 5-piece? Looks like Bethcon's getting very low as Tanner's able to take her down. And finally, it's just stalls now from Nuki on the Tracer. Nuki finding a lot of purchase here, able to stall for longer than you might have expected against 5. With that in mind, this is essentially sold as we are just seeing the last players. With Raygorn somehow slipping a little bit in the sauce. That shouldn't be an issue here, though, as we still have a 4v2 on the payload. Nerfed, am I missing something here? Tanner's almost sliding off the map. This is becoming an incredible stall from Colorado Carbon. But with Tanner's at the helm, there's nothing that Carbon can do, as they're finding just coming short of a 0.3 cap here. That gives the Council a win condition as they move into this offense.
I thought for sure the Carbon were going to be able to open up that fight. It just seemed like so comedic that Raygorn falls off the map and then Bethcon almost gets a double kill with the boop. Just I was about to hype up Raygorn a lot because it seems like they were the answer that the Council needed in a lot of those more scrappy fights, able to get the picks that they needed to turn the fight back in the tide of their favor. But then he went and fell off the map.
Did a bit of a slip. We do a bit of slipping.
Happens to all of us. Happens
to all of us. Hey, listen. Nerfed, I could not count to you the number of times that I have fallen in that specific hole. I mean, genuinely, in my 953 hours in Overwatch, I would say that there are at least 45 times I've fallen in that hole. And that's not just because I played a lot of ball recently. With all that in mind...
I'm very familiar with that hole myself. Don't get it twisted.
With all that in mind, I love to see the adaptation coming from the Council. Again, so... Now, granted, it's still an incredible push from Colorado Carbon, but I have to stress that Kings Row often finds itself either stuck at 0.1 or full capping. So with that in mind, let's see what Colorado Carbon can do as they're getting onto this Ramatra pick that we saw a lot of success from earlier on. Ramatra versus Ryan, I tend to think that Ramatra is just barely eking out that fight personally, but that's a point of preference here.
Yeah, definitely. This has been what we've seen kind of both of these teams favor a lot through most of the series. Tanners will get the opening pick here on the Mei, and it looks like Tenzin will also be just barely able to stay alive. But the Council definitely have the advantage in this fight as Altis dives into the back line with the charge and will open up this fight. Definitely looking like it's going to go in the favor of the Council here.
A tank after my own heart. I love to see that play from Altis, getting super aggressive, opening up the space for their team as he's just able to jump into that backline and get some serious cleave on those swings. Gets rezzed anyway, so it's almost like nothing happened. And we're seeing a very aggressive take coming from the Council as they're finding their stride with their front line playing aggressively, their DPS able to find their shots, and their support line able to find significant bailouts when it matters. I love to see the momentum going in the way of the Council right now, but with Colorado Carbon coming up on some key ultimates, they may be able to stop them. This is going to be a critical point for them on underneath this awning.
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is that neither team has the speed, but Bethcon with a double nade will be able to get 2 opening picks here. This will just be the Colorado Carbon able to hold in the same spot that the Council were able to hold. But as I was kind of saying, I think the interesting fact about both of these teams is neither of them have the speed. So both of these teams kind of have to play a little bit less aggressive than they typically would. And I think that it's favoring the Council here on the aggression just a little bit more than it would the Carbon.
The challenging part, though, Nerfed, is that it's going to be really challenging to push past this choke. As the more aggressive you get, the more you're going to be punished. As King Tanners goes down and Altis goes down to Tenzin, that's going to be really the push stopped there. As how do you possibly get aggressive if you don't have Lucio speed and you're trying to push through a tiny hallway?
And I mean, we're coming up on it again. It's the Colorado Carbon special. They've got 5 ults. I would be very shocked to see the Colorado Carbon somehow throw this fight away. It seems like just destined to be theirs already if they're able to play the ults correctly. I just don't want to see them dump everything into this fight.
And we'll see if they're able to hold ultimates as King Tanners gets on top of the payload with a very aggressive play.
The Blizzard's huge.
But the Blizzard is absolutely massive. Is Kargan going to be able to win this with one? It looks like they did use the Nano as well, committing the Nano probably to bail out a target, as we're seeing now the front line just absolutely falling apart on the side of the Council. And that's some very, very effective ult management, as we see only 2 of the 5 ultimates coming out from Carbon, and already almost 60% on the Blizzard.
That was exactly what I wanted to see, was the Carbon just able to dump 1, maybe 2 ults into that fight, draw out a couple ults from the Council, and hold their ground. And yeah, as you said, Nuki's already 60% on the other Blizzard, so the Carbon ult advantage right now is so immense. They're able to play around these ults so well, and it's winning them these fights here at the second choke.
I love to see the adaptation with the Council coming in from the high ground, saying, if I can't push through the choke, I'm just going to drop in from the ceiling. As they're dropping down and already able to pick off both backliners, but with Tenzen jumping in, killing 3 with their ultimate. That's going to be backlines traded, but ultimately with some very low HP bars, Colorado Carbon able to just eke out that fight. But you have to look at the Council and say, not a bad push, especially coming from that very unusual playstyle, and we'll see if they can get any more movement, as they're going to have a significant respawn advantage coming into this next fight.
Yeah, the Carbon have like such a big numbers disadvantage right here that they're going to have to play back, but they end up committing the Blizzard early. Tenzin will run in with the Ramatra, but it doesn't... Oh, no, I was going to cast her curse, but Tenzin does get the opening pick onto the Reinhardt there.
If you say it, it will always be the opposite, as McFly able to find a very important railgun headshot and some more kills coming in from McFly. That's going to be a fight win on the side of Colorado Carbon, as the Council really tried to take advantage of that ultimate, of that respawn advantage, but really with a Blizzard in play, that's going to buy a lot of time for those respawns to come back.
This has been a great defense so far from the Carbon. I would be kind of shocked to see them not play back a little bit here, but Nuki is just so aggressive. They want to just take the fight at the choke, even down their tank. It won't work out for them this time, as we see Raygorn able to get the pick onto them, and the Council will be able to get some aggression here. But I love the aggression from the Carbon, especially Nuki.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the Council, Altis on the Council, able to really shut down that aggressive playstyle with that Shatter. We see Nuki running back from spawn there. We're seeing some spawn runners. Here we go. Back to the fight, as we're looking at Tenzen, looking to see if he can't shift the momentum of this fight in his favor. Of course, Ramatra having a lot of opportunity to gain some serious armor mid-fight. And with McFly, again, you've named him. Tenzen and McFly able to really find some purchase against some frontliners, as the momentum is going to shift back in the favor of Colorado Carbon. And are they going to hold underneath the awning, or are they going to hold payload here?
I think they're going to hold at this corner here. But once again, the Colorado Carbon have a big ultimate advantage. Just the DPS ults coming here from the Council, and Raygorn's still building up to that Blossom. The Colorado Carbon have 3, and they have arguably one of the best ult combos in the game right now with the Nano Ramatra, and it looks like they'll pop the Ramatra, there's the Nano, and they're just going to play aggressive here.
Absolutely. Tenzen walking in, Nano Ramatra being so strong. You love to see it. There's something that just makes you want to egg on these Ramatra ultimates. It's like, come on, get them all. Chase them down. Let's go. As we see, again, all 5 getting taken down on the side of the Council. And Colorado Carbon, though, now, well, I would say they only have 1 ultimate, but frankly speaking, their Blizzards have been such a critical component. Nuki able to find some really effective Blizzards, probably going to hold up close now, and that's exactly what they're going to do, as they're trying to find an opportunity to look at a 5-person Blizzard if possible, as the Council walking in with some serious ultimates on the side of Tanners, but Tanner's getting walled up. Very important Maywall, as they're looking to break it. Tanner still hasn't pulled. Finally, unable to find anything, as the wall completely negates that ultimate. And Altis, though, pushing forward with some seriously aggressive Zarya gameplay, and it looks like the Blizzard was never committed.
She can't. Oh, she's gonna get out. Wow, that's very surprising that Altis doesn't chase there. They just need to win 1 fight though here, the Carbon, and they've got the Blizzard, and they're building up on the Kitsune Rush. I think that this is playing very in the favor of the Carbon. Despite that, however, lots of ults coming up here from the Council. They'll have the Zarya, they'll have the Reaper. The window will come online, and with an early grab, it seems like this is just going to be the Council winning this fight out. But
with
as
the
I say
grab
that,
holding them in place. But
Oh
now
my
the
gosh.
Blizzard gets so much value, as unfortunately, despite being able to grab the team and set up an incredible window, the Blizzard shuts down any possible damage coming in through that. And the Colorado Carbon with Nuki at the helm, showing that there's a lot of opportunity to shut down this push with the Blizzard. And we're already seeing
Yeah.
play of the game coming in from Nuki. I'm sure it's this. Oh, it's not even the last play. It's from their offense. First point.
Yeah, so I said that I thought that fight was going in the favor of the council, but what I didn't notice was that Nuki was already in their backline. Great stuff from Nuki, just the aggression. I love it. I love to see these aggressive players in the Harmony tier able to just get random picks that you wouldn't think that you'd otherwise see and turn the tides of the fights in favor of their team. I loved what I've seen out of Nuki's May so far this series, and I hope that they're able to keep it up.
Absolutely. Finding a lot of opportunity to just walk past enemy teams. Love that. And already we're jumping into, I know you can't believe it, but we're at halftime break. Time flies when you're having fun. And already we've seen two maps, both going in the favor of course, the Colorado Carbon. But when we come back, we'll see whether the council can shift momentum in their favor through some additional adaptations.
Yep. Yep.
we were 15. When we were 15, I remember car rides, small fights, conversations all night. I never saw you as anything more than a friend, but now I see you in a new light. We're getting older, there's a sparkle in your eyes that wasn't there before. You give me butterflies, it makes me
What's up, Tranquility viewers? We are back. I know you can hardly believe it. If you haven't been following along thus far, we are watching Colorado Carbon and take on, of course, our other C-named team, which I keep mixing up back and forth, the Council. And of course, so far, we've seen 2 maps get played, Antarctic Peninsula and Kings Row, both of which going in favor of Colorado Carbon. However, don't let the numbers fool you. These have been very close maps as we've been seeing points go back and forth, and we've been seeing adaptations coming from both of these teams while they're figuring out how do they square up against each other so far as they're looking to set up their reputations in this second week of Season 10 Harmony Tier Tranquility. Nerfed, we've been having fun so far. What are your thoughts?
It's an absolute tongue twister of a match to cast, I'll say that much. Um, sorry to either one of the teams if we have ever messed up which one we're talking about, but yeah, you said it yourself, very, very close. Despite the 2-0 scoreline, this has been a very back and forth match, and it's come down to a lot of hero plays to be able to win some of these fights out. Specifically from McFly and Nuki on the DPS line of the Carbon, they've been able to just turn the fights so many times in the favor of the Carbon. Get opening picks or something that just win a fight that the Council were maybe advantaged in or otherwise. So definitely been loving what we've seen out of the DPS line from the Carbon, and Tenzin as well. This whole team is playing very, very well. And no diss on the Council as well. They're playing great, but the Carbon, just their DPS line and Tenzin specifically, are able to make so many hero plays to turn these fights in their favor.
Totally agreed. You love to see when a team is really operating how you might kind of expect or want them to, is you're seeing Tenzin playing just aggressively enough, but still getting bailed out by Soul, Bethcon, and Big Meme, able to keep Tenzin in the pocket and importantly alive as they move forward, especially on this Ramatra pick, able to then find a lot of purchase walking into the mid and back line of the Council. But the Council, whenever successful, are finding Altis playing very aggressively as, of course, Tanners and Ragorn able to find a lot of purchase on the DPS line. We're seeing a lot of kill feed go in the direction of Tanners through a lot of hit scan gameplay from the Cassidy, but I'm really excited to see whether Altis and the Council can continue to press that advantage when they find themselves playing aggressively. It feels like they find themselves playing well. That being said, with the May switchover from Colorado Carbon, May has been able to really shut down some of that aggression, and that's going to be an adaptation that I'll be curious to see whether the Council can backtrack. Are we going to see them switching to something a little more pokey? Are we going to see them switching to something a little bit more tempo focused? That's what we'll be looking into as we're jumping into map 3, which we're going to find is Circuit Royale, a map that, as we all know, tends to favor that, Sigma, more pokey gameplay, but with some opportunities for brawl, especially on third point. I'll be interested to see whether we see some serious changes coming to the compositions from these two teams, as this map definitely supports it, Nerfed.
I'm interested to see what the Council are cooking here, because it seems like they've wanted to just play straight brawl for most of this. They'll swap to the Orisa sometimes, they'll swap to the Zarya sometimes, but it's been brawl throughout for the Council. Whereas the Carbon, they've shown more flexibility. They've played a little bit of dive, they've played a little bit of poke, and it's looked better for them. So I'm definitely wondering what the Council are doing here, picking a very pokey map. What they have planned for this map. I'm definitely looking forward to see what they have.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, maybe we will find, the Reinhardt coming out again, and maybe their plan is just to move in aggressively with the Reinhardt and take space. It could be that they're looking to corner camp and so on, because there's some opportunities on this map to, find some of those areas with mega health packs and so on that are off to the side around some of those corners. So not an impossible map to play Reinhardt on, but definitely you tend to see the Sigma play pretty well here, as well as the Ramatra. So again, be very interested to see how the compositions change up. Make sure to let us know in the chat who you're excited to see in this match. It looks like we have folks excited and hear for a lot of different players. Already the chat lighting up with different supporters of different groups. And going immediately in now into our gameplay. Again, this is Circuit Royale. And we are looking at immediately from the Council, the team that we're very interested in seeing what they're looking to come out on Altis on the Ramatra and Tanner's on the Bastion. Not sure if these are troll picks or not, or if we're really going to see these. And since they're on defense, it looks like this is legitimately their comp.
No, the Bastion is very real. I love the Bastion. It's kind of a sneaky pick, but it works out very well. And it seems like they're playing very much to shut down the Pharah. They know that it's coming, it seems, and they know that's the win condition for the Colorado Carbon. So playing early to shut that down, I think, is going to give the Council a big put the fight in their favor, at least early on here.
Love that. You can see they might have done a little bit of scouting, maybe on BethCon stream, similar to maybe what I did to prepare for this match. And you would have expected to see Nuki, again, going to the comfort pick of the Pharah on these wide open maps. So I love to see the adaptation. Again, this is what we love to see in Harmony tier. But immediately, with an incredible boop coming from Nuki, able to shut down the high ground. But as they're just going to simply reset, and the cart really hasn't moved far enough for that to get much purchase yet, we're seeing a lot of splash damage coming in on the side of Nuki on this Pharah, as they're just looking to see if they can continue to pressure this. But with the shift already committed from Bastion, that's going to be 5 to 10 more seconds. But it looks like it's already back online, as Tanner's able to just completely delete Nuki. And this Bastion is going to be so hard to deal with. Tanner's finding a second kill onto your boy Soul, but with Nuki getting rezzed, are they back into this fight? Now they're able to utilize this bridge as a more effective source of cover, as they're able to then move forward with the Ramatra on the low ground and the rest of the team on the high ground. But Tanner's aggressing on that high ground, but with the shift over, this is their chance to push. Nuki knows this is his opportunity, so he jumps in looking for an opportunity to kill this Bastion, but with the Mercy Pocket, that's just going to be too challenging to do. And with Altis showing some proficiency on the Ramatra, with Tenzin down, I think this is going to tend to shift the momentum in the direction of the Council.
Yeah, I think so as well, but McFly has other things to say, able to take down Rhaegorn, but King Tanner's, the Bastion is absolutely working wonders. Nuki knows that he cannot peek. It is actually illegal for him to peek at any point during this match, because if he does, he is gone. The Soldier and the Bastion are just able to poke him out so well, and it like we said, it's shutting down kind of the win condition that the Colorado Carbon are looking for here.
I love it. Again, adaptation. This composition is something that we haven't seen from the Council yet, but they're looking so strong on it already, coming out with 2 fight wins, or rather 1 fight win, but a very extended fight win already on this defense. Altis getting very aggressive now, walking and finds McFly in that side room, and Altis now staying in the pocket in the side room. Will Altis be able to get out? It looks like they will, as Nuki won't be able to provide any pressure into the underground area. Altis committing the ultimate, but won't be able to find anything, as they're not going to push too far forward. No need to feed here, as Tanner's, they're really, honestly, some of their win condition here on the Bastion needs to find opportunities to get those kills, as they're running very low, but with the Mercy Pocket, looks like they're going to be able to hold on, as we see a Baptiste window coming in. Now, this is something that I want to see changes from on the side of the Council. Looks like they're committing their ultimates just a little too early in some of these fights, and that might come to hurt them, as now Colorado Carbon are going to walk in with a "this ends now" coming in. We all hate and love to hear that call out, as Nuki able to find 3 with the barrage, an absolutely massive barrage from Nuki, and Tenzin cleaning up some of the final kills on the front line. That's finally going to shift the momentum in the favor of Colorado Carbon. They're going to be able to get some purchase here on this first point.
It took a lot for them to win that fight. However, one of the ults they popped there was BethCon's Valkyrie, and she already is basically back up with another one. Another one was the Coalescence, and we're already half on that one. So the supports are able to build up those ults, and we're basically back to square one in terms of ult economy here. Tanner is getting a little bit aggressive, falling early, but the Council are able to bail them out and get them in a safe position.
I love it. Looks like our Ramatra player is coming into the fight a little late here and getting grabbed early. Is that going to force them all a point? It will. And as long as the Bastion goes down, they should be able to cap here without any pressure. And it looks like they will, as the payload reaches that point. And that's kind of an interesting misplay, potentially, from the front line of the Council, as Altis opts to go the long way around instead of dropping down from the high ground. And that leaves their Bastion, Tanner's, alone on point, able to easily then get taken down. Colorado Carbon now looking really strong as they continue to push forward. The Council are going to need to lick their wounds and find an opportunity to get reset here, which is going to be very challenging as they're pushing through a very small choke. And with Nuki able to continue to pressure that small area on the Pharah, they may just be able to hold them to that small and contained room. It looks like they're going to try to do that now as they're pushing forward with the Coalescence. That's going to give Tenzin the ability to push forward aggressively as the Bastion's committing his ultimate. But Tanner's getting taken down. No purchase on the Bastion ultimate as Nuki's looking to continue to pressure their advantage. But with no support coming in, it looks like Nuki is just going to get taken down slowly over time. But it doesn't matter. Bethcon in with the clutch res. And still, with so much space already created on the side of Carbon, they're not going to be able to push back this highly aggressive Zarya. Zarya being at very high charge, Altis is not going to be able to push past this, at least not with an ultimate. Now, with the shift coming in from Bastion, this is going to be their chance to push forward. Are they going to capitalize on this, or is Tana's going to continue to walk forward in front of their tank? It looks like the tank is not going to be able to keep them alive, as Nuki is finding so much success off of this Pharah.
What a fight. That lasted for pretty much the entire distance of that second point. But it seems like the Carbon now have the momentum in their favor. They're able to set up in positions where the Council aren't able to play pokey. They're not able to play the waiting game. The Carbon are able to set themselves up in positions where they have the advantage, and they're able to start the fights first, which is crucial playing into these poke comps.
It sounds like, I think, really what we need to see here from the Council is some hive mind strategies. They need to connect some of their thought processes between their mid and front line. And so far, no luck there, as the Bastion may get taken out early again. And it looks like, actually, in fact, the back lines are going to be taken down on the side of the Council, as we're seeing late ultimates committed on the side of the Council. Maybe able to find some purchase, though, as Tenzin gets taken down. That's a critical shift in momentum. But with the Ramatra potentially going down, maybe not. With the Ramatra going down, that is probably going to sell it. But some serious time bought, not necessarily a throw ultimate from Altis, is this going to be really challenging now with the respawn advantage going the way of the Council. Looks like Council should be able to stop the payload here.
Yeah, they swap onto the Orisa here. Definitely questionable at the very least, popping the Ramatra up there. But if they're swapping, I guess it does make sense. But they're playing Orisa into the Zarya. This is something we saw earlier in the series, and it did not work out for the Carbon. And as we'll see here, Carbon will be able to get a couple of opening picks in this fight, and it looks like this is just going to be them taking the advantage of this point. Altis is the only one alive, and there it is. Just able to get a little bit more momentum in that final fight. And that, I think, is what dictated so many of these fights, was momentum. Who was in the right position at the right time? Who was able to take control and advantage of the space that they had and win fights off of that? That, I think, was crucial in determining most of the fights on this map so far.
Totally agreed. I love to see the swap. Nuki goes from the Pharah to the Mei, as they're not going to, of course, going to be able to get a lot of purchase out of the Pharah rather in this final point. Going to the Mei gives this team just so much ability to shut down the Council from being able to hold any corners, as that Blizzard is just going to be able to pressure them on that final point. A lot of teams really struggle. By the way, side comment here. Some excellent gameplay footage here of the Duck. I'm absolutely mesmerized.
I am transfixed. This is all that has my attention now, and all that will ever hold my attention for the rest of time.
I think we are Duck, as we now walk away from our only and sole purpose in this match, of course, being the rubber ducky. Don't worry, Ducky, we will be back.
This is giving about a drop.
The Council now going to need to push to third point to get any closer to that Ducky, as hopefully we're seeing actually a pause coming in quickly. Looks like Ducky has now put in their concern that we need to pause to go back.
Overlord.
Our Overlord has spoken, and we have paused as a result.
The Duck needs more.
We're going to take a brief pause here, folks, as we're figuring out something on the back end. But with all that in mind, so far so good again on this offense on the side of Colorado Carbon. Again, I love to see, I think adaptation is really the key word of today. You're seeing Colorado Carbon able to shift some of the focus and the composition to better fit the map geometry. And I love to see that coming from Carbon. This is some, I mean, to be honest with you, these may be Harmony tier players, but these are some high-level strategies coming from these teams, and you just love to see that. At this point, it's all about execution, as Colorado Carbon are looking to defend this point with a somewhat similar composition on the Ramatra, holding the high ground here, and Council coming in also on Ramatra, but this time on double hit scan. So we're going to see both the Soldier and the Cassidy maybe finding some long-range pickoffs as they walk forward onto this payload. And so far, so good.
It seems like they expected to see the Pharah again, but the Carbon are ready. They know that they aren't going to be able to get as much advantage off of the Pharah, and the Council want to play around that. But the hit scan picks will still be able to find the both DPS from the Carbon and open up this fight for the Council. Tanners will be able to get some Fan the Hammers, get some crucial damage off onto Tenzin, and just win this fight outright.
Tanners, I absolutely love the McRight-click gameplay, as we saw it already last week. I counted, in fact, 5 right clicks coming in a row on first map, first point. If y'all aren't familiar, please go and check out that stream. That was a riot. But jokes aside, Tanner's hitting some very critical shots, finding a lot of purchase on this Cassidy pick. It's something that we saw early on in this match, and we're seeing it consistently throughout. Interestingly enough, again, you talked about how they switched to potentially counter the Pharah, but despite there being no Pharah, still a lot of potential here. But reasonably speaking, it's always been the Blizzard that has really given them that opening. So we'll see whether that Blizzard can get charged up here as we're jumping into the mid fight. Now, already an Immortality Field being committed from Bethcon. Bethcon now dropping the wall, going to be able to get some serious damage, but it's being negated by an enemy Immortality Field. Ruka's Immortality Field finds some serious saving here. The support lines are just absolutely owning, as now Bethcon and Soul able to just walk forward with this Coalescence, and it looks like that's going to be Colorado Carbon, crucially, holding right before the checkpoint as the Council are coming up on 4 ultimate abilities.
I was kind of wondering if the Carbon were going to even be able to get another touch in. But they do, and I didn't see what the exact charge was on the Zarya, but it seemed like it was high. And that, paired with the Coalescence, you're just going to beam so much damage down onto the enemy team, and the Council just have to give up so much space that they end up losing the fight and losing their advantage there.
Absolutely. You love to see it from the support line on Colorado Carbon, but already very early, Tanner's finding 2, but with a Blizzard in play, it's going to be so hard to capitalize on that. Will Ramatra commit the ultimate ability here? That's the big question, as Altist is looking to move forward, possibly punish the Mei for being slightly out of position here, and with the Zarya out of the picture, this is looking pretty rough on the side of Colorado Carbon, but with the pickoff onto Ruka, that's going to open up. Now, the sustain from the side of Colorado Carbon is going to be just slightly better, as the respawn advantage is now a little bit more even here, but with the Zarya back in play, that's just going to be a momentum shift on the side of Colorado Carbon. So the Council, although they were able to find some critical pickoffs early with that Blizzard, they were able to get completely negated on their ability to finish up the fight.
Yeah, they couldn't clean up the backline, and because of that, the Carbon were able to sustain for long enough. It seemed like the Council got a little bit split as to their focus, and they stall out enough time. Tenzin comes back, McFly comes back, and they're able to hold on to this point for just a little bit longer. Now we're in final fight territory, and it's not looking great for the Council. Only with the window and the high noon here, they're running into 4 ults basically from the Carbon.
And some great mitigation actually coming from the Mei, as they're able to take a lot of pressure. But with Tanners getting a pick onto McFly and then a pick onto Soul, that's 2 for Tanners, despite the team running very low. The Council's support line working overtime to get as much of their players kept up as possible. But of course, with the Zarya so high charged, it's just no possible way for them to move forward. And that's going to be Colorado Carbon taking this 3rd map on Circuit Royale very handily, capping full and then holding to 1st.
Well, my prediction was ruined. That was crazy. King Tanner's like holding on to his namesake. That was crazy. Getting 2 opening picks in most of those fights, and even getting picks in a fight that was like it was the Carbon special. They had 5 ults. They dumped like 3 of them, but the first 2 picks still went in Tanner's favor. That was really crazy to see there at the end of that Circuit Royale point.
I think this was Circuit Royale is really a map where the Colorado Carbon support line shined. We saw some serious momentum shifts coming from windows, coming from Coalescence, really enabling that Zarya to move forward and take space aggressively. I love to see that. You saw a lot of moments where it very much could have been, with some opening picks coming from the side of the Council, it could have just been a fight win easily, but whether it be a Mei Blizzard or some significant bailouts, again, from the support line on Colorado Carbon, that's going to be a very handily map win. Again, that's map 3 now, so we are 3-0 with Colorado Carbon, but don't forget, Map differential does matter as the season progresses, so we're going to be jumping into map 4, where the Council are going to look to get their first map win so far this season in Season 10 Harmony tier.
And I think, if anything, this has got to be the one. New Queen Street is very open to the brawl. You can kind of a lot of interpretations. You can play a lot of different comps here, but I think this is one of the maps that is going to enable the brawl a lot. Despite that, however, the Carbon have looked like they've been able to weather anything coming from the Council. They've held on to a lot of these key fights, and I mean, the Carbon special has proved tried and true, just able to win any possible fight for them. Dumping 5 ults is just a clear recipe to win.
Absolutely, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that they're actually finding ways to manage their alt economy very effectively. So I would not be surprised internally if you're seeing some effective alt callouts. So hey, we're going to use this fight. We don't want to use that unless such and such happens. You're seeing that working in their favor very effectively, as again, it almost feels like they're at an ultimate advantage every fight, except for whenever they have a Mei Blizzard, in which case, for whatever reason, they're able to trade like 1 ult for 3, and that just goes to show how effectively they're able to utilize the Mei, which in my opinion has been an underrated pick throughout all of Overwatch 2's history so far, especially as we're seeing the meta shift more towards a main tank focus, with a lot of Reinhardts being played, ball compositions being played, you know, Ramatra is in there as well, and Mei tends to find a lot of purchase against some of these against some of these tanks, and that's where you're seeing the Blizzard and the Mei pick really dominating in some of these maps, especially on defense. I love to see that. I want to see Mei finding more success. I know we love to hate Mei, but Mei honestly is kind of like an off tank, and it gives me some nostalgia for Overwatch 1, so hopefully we see more success on that Mei moving forward. Critically, we do have a swap coming in, and that's going to be Big Meme coming in for Beth, and that is going to sell it for our 4th map here. And that's some pretty critical swap there, as of course we know from the previous week's match. Beth often offers some pretty key insights mid-fight into exactly how to navigate and adapt to gameplay as it occurs, and especially in the decisions about composition switches. So it'll be interesting to see whether that has any effect on Colorado Carbon's success here as we jump into as we all know, the scene of Beth's famous sleep that found itself onto famous Twitch clips. So we're coming out here and nerfed. What do you think of these compositions?
I think that the Carbon don't have a mercy. That's what I think, and the Council do. It seems like the support lines have kind of been swapped up here. They're Carbon are playing the Pharah, but they're not playing the Mercy. Kind of a key duo you've seen throughout the entire history of Overwatch. It'll be definitely interesting to see how the Kiriko is able to keep up the Carbon, with having to also pocket the Pharah.
And already with Tanner's finding a headshot onto Soul, that's going to be a lot of healing now dropping on the side of Colorado Carbon. And with Rhaegorn able to find Tenzin and Nuki, Tanner's cleaning up the Kiriko here on Big Meme. It looks like this is already going very handily on the way of the Council.
Oh yeah, they handled that fight very well. And the Carbon already making some swaps, swapping Nuki back onto the Mei, which has proven very, very crucial in winning them a lot of these fights. But it just didn't really seem like the Carbon had an answer. The Council kind of just played aggressive. They got some picks, and they were able to win out that fight pretty handily.
Yeah, happy to see the adaptation here. I think the Mei is such a critical pick. It fits better with the support line. And the Ramatra getting very low here, but they commit so that they can take down Rhaegorn. And that's going to be a 4v5. Now a 4v4 as Big Meme is taken back by an incredible fire strike from Altis. Altis showing that proficiency on the Reinhardt character. But with King Tanner's going down, that's so much damage potential now dropping on the side of the Council. And it's looking like the momentum was going to shift on the side of Colorado Carbon until this incredible shatter from Altis, now able to find 2. Altis almost able to pick off the final, but McFly taking down Altis with the Ramatra now still up on the side of Colorado Carbon. The bot is going to move in the direction of the Ramatra.
Such a close fight, and it seems like the Council were able to find their footing there multiple times throughout. However, the Carbon are able to stand their ground and take this fight, getting their first meters on the board for this map. And they'll be able to hold their ground, take a little bit of space, and run into the brawl comp of the Carbon, or of the Council rather.
Absolutely. And what I really want to see here on the side of the Carbon is I want to see these DPS line be able to really continue to step into the pocket. And it looks like they will. They're already in the back line as the Mei is just finding so much potential here. And as they're punishing Altis' playstyle. So this is some, again, really effective mid-fight adaptation coming from Carbon, despite the fact, again, that they may have lost one of their critical shot callers in the swap-up. But it looks like no problem here as they're continuing to find success, and it looks like the bot is going to start to walk ever closer to a critical point, which is as far as Council were able to push in their offense.
I can hear the cries of the goats. Both teams have 5 ults. I'm hoping that we see a big ult jump from both. But with the Council able to just get 3 opening picks, I don't think we're gonna be able to see that, unfortunately. Just the Shatter and the Kitsune pushed from the Council, and the Carbon are going to have to fall back a little bit and recuperate from their losses.
I love that. When you know that the enemy team has a lot of ultimates, the best thing you can do is just to play aggressively and pop yours first. That's just going to mean a team fight victory for you. Altis knows that. Altis commits the Shatter and is able to win a fight with only 1 ultimate in play. Altis getting very deep, though, as they're pushing this into the small room, but able to get out without really being punished. And that opens up a lot of space for Tanners to commit this ultimate. Will Tanners commit it? It looks like they won't, as they're going to step into the Blizzard potentially, but still able to find 2 in the back line. But it won't matter, as of course we're seeing most of the members of the Council now going down after so much momentum being gained on the side of the Carbon from a Blizzard, and able to now save the Ramatra ultimate, but with the Council looking at 3 ultimates, unable to commit them as they expected a fight loss from the Blizzard. This might still be Council coming in with a victory on the next fight.
Tanner's is playing great, but he's playing on an island, and he's kind of taking a lot of the resources out of the way from the rest of the Council. Rhaegarn will open up this fight with a pick onto the Kiriko using the Blossom. However, Tanner's will fall, and the Carbon are low. It looks like the Council will be able to open up this fight if they take a little bit more aggression, and there it is with the Shatter. 3 members on the ground, and with 2 down. It seems like this is just going to be the Council winning this fight, and yeah, there it is. 2 more picks. And that's right in the favor of the Council, who will be able to get a little bit more of an advantage as they already had the first checkpoint unlocked.
That's right, and I love to see you see this so much aggression as the Carbon are trying to set up, and you see Rhaegarn just fly out of a window, Beyblading in the center of the team, and able to find success with that early kill. Some incredible stuff there as Tanner's looking to get set up for this high noon. Will they be able to find it, though, as they're running way back from spawn? Hopefully, we'll see some peel here as Ruka getting taken down early from McFly. McFly able to find 2, McFly able to find 3. Whenever you hear this ends now, you know what's about to happen. It's about to end now. And it looks like McFly just ended it.
It typically ends right after that, I would imagine. That's kind of an old combo that I haven't really thought a whole ton about. But you're able to open up so much space using the Q from the Ramatra for the overclock to just get so much value. There's no pressure on McFly anymore, and they're able to just hit as many shots as they want with no pressure on them at all.
That's right. Jumping into next fight, we're seeing Kiriko already dropping this Kitsune rush on the side of the Council, but with another Mei Blizzard, it's just going to create so much momentum for Carbon. So anything that the Council wants to do, it just gets shut down by this Blizzard. And I just want to say, for all teams that are observing this right now, pay attention to this Mei gameplay. I mean, this might be something you want to consider incorporating. I don't care what tier you're at. This is working incredibly well as Nuki's able to find so much purchase on the Mei. And it looks like already Ramatra committing some cooldowns now onto the high ground, excuse me. The McFly Shatter committing onto the high ground, able to shut it down, but with a massive Shatter, are we going to be able to see a momentum shift already? But with the Coalescence, that's going to keep up Colorado Carbon, but with Nuki getting taken down from a headshot, that might sell it. But with Altis going down, it looks like the front line is just absolutely falling to Tenzen's prowess here on the Ramatra. And we're going to see this card continue to inch its way along in the favor of Colorado Carbon.
And right there's the lead. The Council will finally lose the lead for the first time on this map. And just some amazing plays coming out from the Carbon. Some great ult usage. The ult cycling from this team has been phenomenal throughout the entirety of the series. But right here, they've been able to find a big advantage and take the lead back. Rhaegarn will pop the ult from the Council. Not able to find anything, and it looks like this is just going to be the Colorado Carbon getting more of an advantage using 2 more ults actually, so not ideal, I don't think. You definitely could have won that fight without popping as many ults. But it will seem like this is just the Carbon able to get right up to the end of this map.
Absolutely. And Tenzin feeling themselves a little up the ram ult, able to find a lot of kills and purchase there. But now, with Altis
The
pressuring
pin.
in, driving in hard, gets a very important pin as Tenzin running very low, but the support line able to keep up Tenzin. So now Altis being the one low, but with Tanners committing the high noon, are they going to be able to find any kills? It gets shut down by the wall
McFly.
again, but Nuki gets in so deep that they drop, and now Raygorn able to find McFly, but with Tenzin flipping it with a kill onto Raygorn, is this going to be a stop or not? It's still hard to say, but with Altis getting an incredible shatter, that's going to sell it here, as finally the Council are able to flip this, and this map is not over nerfed. We have a minute and 50 on the clock.
If I'm the Colorado Carbon, what I want to do for the entire rest of this map is just play aggressive and bait out ults like they did there. The Council rather had to commit the high noon, they had to commit the shatter to be able to win that fight that was in their spawn. Now they have to win 1, maybe even 2 more fights to just get back to the checkpoint. And even with that, they still have another 44 meters to push before they're back in the lead. The Carbon just need to play aggressive and kill time. That's all they need to do, and they can potentially close out this map.
Absolutely, as we're seeing, of course, the Blizzard getting committed, and with the Blizzard in, it's going to be really hard for this team to get any movement, as Altis, though, able to shut down Nuki, but with both DPS down on the side of the Council, it's going to be really challenging to finish off any picks here, but with both support ultimates in play, Altis just walking on this team, able to find a lot of opportunity with fire strikes, charges, and everything else. Altis showing, again, so much proficiency on the Reinhardt character, and look, just scaring them off of the point, as they're looking to really stall this fight out. And now, with the DPS coming back from the Council, Altis holding that shield like an absolute Chad, getting ready for another shatter, coming in on the side of Altis and hits it with a massive shatter coming in from Altis and a huge fire strike to follow it up. Altis just absolutely with the team on their back now as they're moving forward, trying to shift the momentum, maybe able to finally cap out the map entirely, as we're already seeing both DPS ultimates coming in very close from the Council, but with 4 ultimates on the side of Carbon, it's going to be a lot of work, and with 30 seconds left, we're already in last fight territory.
Yeah, this has got to be big coming out from the DPS of the Council if they want to be able to get the advantage in this map. And Tanners comes up huge!
Tanners huge!
Altis pins the Ramatra off the map. Raygorn will get one with the Blizzard.
Oh, it's the 1v1!
But Nuki cleans up the fight and is able to close out this series, giving the Colorado Carbon their 4th map. It's always Nuki. It always comes back to Nuki, able to win out that fight and save the Carbon from potentially losing that final map.
And Nuki with an absolutely deserved play of the game here. Probably, it looks like it is the final fight. Wonderful. We'll get to see it from Nuki's POV, as it looks like Nuki just is walking into the backline, getting so much movement. So despite so many down targets on the side of the Council, it's still going to be just some incredible gameplay again coming from Nuki. You love to see it. Now again, don't let the numbers confuse you. Although we see Colorado Carbon taking this match handily in a 4-0 victory, really establishing themselves from last week now as being a team that's 1-1 with a very impressive win today. But we did see a lot of close matches today, and we saw a lot of adaptation. It looks like Colorado Carbon definitely found a lot of opportunity to shut down the main win conditions from the Council, but the Council still have a lot of tools in their back pocket that they can use, and if they don't see those same tools getting shut down like they saw today, I expect to see some wins from the Council later this season, absolutely. Again, 2 very new teams, still a lot of development happening on these teams. I really hope that we see more adaptation coming in the future from both of them, but an excellent match to watch, and it's been an absolute ride, again, with Colorado Carbon coming out on top.
And I think that was a crucial match for them to win. This is a tough pool. There are some pretty good teams in this pool, as we see. The Ragnarok Freya was one that I've been hyping up a lot. The Gehenna Gatekeepers, Clairvoyance is one of my, honestly, like, they're pushing my top 5. And then even Aimbots were able to get their first win today. I think the Carbon getting a 4-0 win here is crucial. Them being able to find a pretty crucial match for their standings. But
So-
Jonesy, yeah, I think it's time. I think we both know it's time for our player of the match. And is it anybody but Nuki? I feel like it just has to be Nuki. I was going back and forth between a couple of the players because there were just so many hero plays, and honestly, you could give it to anybody from both teams. But Nuki was just the X factor. Nuki cleaned up so many of those fights and was just able to turn even the most lost fights for the Carbon back in their favor.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It was very close for me. I probably would have said Nuki, but just to be a
That's fair.
antagonist here, I would actually say that Tenzin represented to me
Tenzin
on
did
Colorado
great, yeah.
Carbon the ability to adapt and then find so much success early on. Obviously, Nuki found a lot of success later in the series, but we can't forget about how much impact Tenzin was having, especially on that Ramatra. So that's gonna be really exciting to see in the future, to see if that Ramatra can continue to find the same level of success. Now, I know also, Nerfed, if I'm not mistaken, we actually have another show on Tranquility that you wanted to call out.
Oh, yes, we do. So that will conclude us here for the Colorado Carbon versus the Council. Great match from both teams. However, if you're interested in sticking around immediately after that happened there, and it should be a ton of fun. I'm definitely excited to see what they have cooking. So be sure to tune in immediately after this to see Silver Slander.
I'm excited for it. Well, that's it for us Tranquility viewers. Thank you for watching. This has been Harmony Tier Season 10, Week 2. I've been Jonesy, and alongside Nerfed, also with Hippie and Nick on Prod, we all wish you happy gaming and have a great night. Thank you.